Hello, everybody, wherever you may be, from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. Welcome back to your solar weather update. Today is Wednesday, November 23rd. I just want to say it's really nice to have the opportunity to spend some time with you today and share today's weather through Friday, okay? First, the A1A. It's got some good sunspots there in the north and south hemisphere. The area there at 10 o'clock is a solar plague. They're not thinking it's going to be a sunspot region. We'll have to keep an eye on that. That's on the far east limb on the sun, the northeast limb. A couple of days, we kind of take a look at this here. You can see it. They haven't squared the area out yet. I don't know if that might end up being an area where there'll be a sunspot region or not. There is a lot of intensity from, as you can see, from the A1A, as well as here from the backside view of the sun. Just seeing a little bit of the backside there on the east limb, right? 2 days of magnetosphere view, taking all the brightness away from the sun. There at 10 o'clock shows you that solar plague. And it gives you an idea of where the sunspots are here on the sun. 3149, 3151, 3147, and 48 facing Earth. 3146 and 3150 just sliding off of that west limb. By tomorrow, those two sunspots there, 3146 and 3150, will be gone and will be dealt just the four that we have currently available, and that's going to be dropping SFIs. Here's yesterday's magnetosphere view, and here is today. You see those two drop right off. So just four sunspot regions facing Earth. Should see a lowering in the solar flux index, but also in the good news, there'll be lower noise floors as well. Coronal hole map, and this is very interesting. Typically, coronal holes in the sun are on the north and south poles of the sun. Today, look at all the coronal holes, 46, 47, 45, 48 and 49 there. So four coronal holes, they haven't increased our solar wind. That's a good sign. So at least good noise floors, so quiet conditions on the bands through Friday. That should be good. Your current information about solar flares, nothing really up to an M flare the last 3 days. And they show three sunspot regions here that are, facing Earth, but there are actually four. You can see 3148, 47, 51, and 49 that are there. So they show three at the bottom. They're just missing one of them here. Solar flux index, we'll get to that in a moment, but look at the global D-layer absorption today. Remember, the D-layer of the ionosphere is what helps attenuate signals below 10 megahertz. But look how quiet it is today. This is a very inactive day for the D-layer. Signals on 40 meters daytime should work you quite a good distance today, even possibly up to 80 meters. There's just very little, if any, attenuation from the D-layer today. It's a fantastic day to maybe work some rare DX on 40 or 80. Try it out. May find some interesting information. Again, some good calls there. Also, looking at the solar indices here, SFI 116, that's down one from yesterday. Look for that number to go down again today. It's going to be a little more pronounced of a drop today. Probably around 110, maybe in or near that number. Smooth sunspot number at 61, that's down 22. Area number is flat at 410. The KP index, this is noise floors, pretty loud earlier today at almost a KP4, but now just very, very quiet, KP1. So your noise floors today and tonight, even through tomorrow, should be brilliant. 3 days of geomagnetic forecast activity. You can see KP3 today, same for tomorrow, and a KP2 or 3 forecast for Saturday. So good conditions. Currently, KP index from the Space Weather Live people, sorry, untangled the tongue here, KP1, that's current. Also, real-time solar wind, 306.7 kilometers per second. And that's pretty cool considering we have, three at least coronal holes that are facing Earth. So that's really not too bad considering only 306.7 kilometers per second. Here's where you kind of see that the SFI is going to dip, okay? And the density in the radiation from the sun, you can see how things are falling, and that's going to really collide with a lowering SFI for tomorrow for sure. That number is going to be released at 1 p.m. Pacific, so this is about 2.5 hours away from this show. Interplanetary magnetic field, good. It's north, and that's good to know. So we've got decent magnetic field from the planets, and we also have it good from the sun. We're positive 0.93, so that's good. We've been negative for part of the day, just climbed into the positive region just a few moments ago. QRZ conditions, Your SFI 116, solar number 52, A index 3, K is 1, BZ latitude, there's that positive 0.9, and your solar wind down to 309.3 kilometers per second. EME degree today is good for moon bouncers, and you can see the HF forecast there. I tell you, I think that the HF forecast will be better than this, but it depends on where you're going to be. Let's take a look at I'll show you in the maximum usable frequency map. Earlier today, this was what it looked like when it was still daylight in most of Europe. And you can see about 10 megahertz, the 10 meter band up to Great Britain and France. So right there, it was right there at 10 megahertz, and you could do some really good DX towards the States. That's about as high north as it goes, though, about 50 degrees north, and it's very spotty. It's not going to be all day openings, but it will be open for much of the day. Current Kilo Charlie 2 Golf map looks like this. Currently in, let's kind of look at the numbers here to get a little closer to Northern Hemisphere. Currently if you're in Alaska, 8 megahertz in Fairbanks, 11 down in Anchorage, 29 megahertz. There's 10 meters all the way in the Bitterroot Range of Montana, 31 Southern California, 31 in Brownsville, Texas, 30 Pensacola, Florida, 29 in Washington, D.C., and 29 as well in New England, 31 Great Lakes going all the way up to the southern shores of Lake Ontario. A really good, of Hudson Bay, pardon me. But there's a lot of 10 meters here. It will keep going up, but I do believe it's probably going to start getting spotty openings right about 50 degrees north, all right? Looking towards Europe, 18 megahertz in Portugal, 12. Look at how much it changes as you go into Spain. 11 megahertz in France. Same for Great Britain. Heading towards Germany, 8 megahertz. 11 if you're in Italy. 10 in Greece, 12 Jerusalem, and 19 right there in the Persian Gulf. Southern Hemisphere today looks great. Got still that little spot there of 12 meters at 25 megahertz band going kind of just off of the northeast tip of South America going into the center of Africa. But decent conditions, 28 in northern Brazil, 31 Sao Paulo, and as you head down the coast on the Atlantic side there of the continent of South America, you're just great 10 meters, 41 down in the southern part, and that also transfers over to the Pacific side of South America as well. So great conditions to work DX from North America south into South America, as well as if you're headed towards the great wonderful continent of Australia, as well as the folks in Japan. Sorry, folks, been a long time since I've done a show. Tongue-tied here today, I think. All right, Tokyo at 10 megahertz. Darwin, Australia at 20. That's tropics there in Australia. 24 Townsville, 19 if you're in Brisbane. Currently 18 in Sydney. Down in Tasmania, 12 megahertz. Over in Perth, just on 17 megahertz. I mean, not far away from the 17 meter band there. And New Zealand, look at that, 20 megahertz already in the North Island. They'll be on 10 today for sure. Southern Hemisphere has much more possibility for 10 meters than the North does. It's just not going as far north as it did last week. Your ham and shortwave forecast for today. Sorry about the tongue-tied parts there. It's powered by ICOM. ICOM for the love of ham radio. SFIs to drop through Friday. Noise floors, S0 to S1 to S1, S2 through Friday. How far will the SFIs drop? I think we maybe lose between 5 and 8 today, and possibly a bit more on Friday. Just not any new sunspots coming so far, so we need some more sunspots to juice it up. Voice bands, Northern Hemisphere, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10 meters if you're south of about 50 degrees north in the Northern Hemisphere. You may get some spotty openings if you're north of 50 degrees, but 10 meters hasn't been really super good, say, in the last few days in parts of Great Britain, as well as Germany and France. It's been openings, but it hasn't been like it was where it was open all day long. It's a very spotty opening for 10 meters. Keep your eye on it, though. Equatorial latitudes, 20, 17, 15, 12, and the 10-meter band. Southern Hemisphere, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10. Don't worry about the 45 degrees south latitude. I think you get all the way through the South Island of New Zealand today. Tonight on your amateur radio bands, noise floors S0 to S1, perfect conditions for DX. May go S1 at 2 at times, but they'll go right back down to S0, S1 through Friday. Nighttime ham band openings, 160, 80, 60, 40, 30. Your best DX on your maximum usable frequency at sunset, then work your lower bands till you reach 40 and 80 overnight. Shortwave listeners, your daytime bands, lowering SFIs, however, still decent DX for you. Good noise floors too, S0 to S2, possibly S2 at times, but those S2s aren't going to last you forever. Noise floors through Friday should be on your shortwave daytime 31, 25, 22, 19, 15, and the 13 meter band. Nighttime shortwave noise floors S0, S1 today, possibly rising as high as an S2 at times on Friday. But again, for shortwave folks, it's not going to be a big long moment of S2 noise floors. It'll be spotty for maybe an hour or so and drop back down. So good conditions on noise floors. Shortwave bands in the evening 120, 90, 75, 60, 49, 41, 31, 25, 22, and the 19 meter band open in the southern hemisphere for about 90 minutes to 2 hours after sunset, and the signals will fade away. I think you'll have some good DX today. And by the way, interesting comment here when I put it on the screen. I don't ever do that during the show like this, but this is something that's kind of, there's a couple of nice ones here. And if I don't get to all of you, please understand my heart's in it. I'd love to. RW7610, greetings. Thank you for coming. He says, greetings from Maine. Great show, 73, and happy Thanksgiving. Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray, thank you so much. A very happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. Also, reiterating what's happening in Europe to help us here in the States and also folks in Europe as well. This is Walt. He's in Poland right now. He's not far from Gdansk. He says 10 meters has been dead in northern Poland this week. That's a good indicator right there. 10 meters is, like I say, going south. It's kind of spotty openings in Great Britain. And as you head towards the continent of Africa, it's very, very spotty. Well, thank you very much for the signal report. That's nice to hear. Folks, I'm going to hopefully be able to come back with a full ham radio live show today. It's really going to be fun. We're going to talk about a great antenna build that Walton in Poland put together. It's a wonderful video. Also, we're going to talk about the very venerable but very popular as well, Yaesu FTDX 9000, its iterations, the things that they did, as well as your comments. And I'm looking forward to that. Until then, wherever you may be, God bless you. Thanks for listening to this weather segment. Turn on your radio and have some fun today. Goodbye, everybody.